Story 1. You don't like your boyfriend seeing me braless in the dorm? Then he won't. I live in a college dorm on an all-female floor. I usually wear a bra when leaving the dorm building, but I'm not going to put on a bra under my shirt just to walk down the hall to the bathroom. A few days ago, I left my room and walked 10 yards down the hall to the water fountain, refilled my water bottle, and went back to my room. I was wearing a white tank top and no bra. The tank top was fitted but not see-through, so you could only see the outline of my nips. There was a small group of people hanging out in the hall outside a few of the rooms, but I didn't think much of it. Until around half an hour later, when I got a knock on the door from one of the girls I'd seen in the hall. She said something to the effect of, "Hey, sorry to ask you this, but if you go out in the hall again, could you put a bra on? My boyfriend's out there and he was staring a little, so..." I'm super non-confrontational, so I was like, yeah, sure, sorry about that, and for the rest of that night, anytime I left my room, I put a bra or sweater on. And that was the end of it. Or so I thought. The next day, my roommate told me she'd overheard the girl telling a few of her friends about the incident while in the bathroom. She said the girl was making it sound like I'd been purposefully trying to seduce her boyfriend while wearing basically nothing, taking my time at the water fountain, posing to push out my boobs, the whole works. When she left the bathroom, my roommate said the girl was actually acting it out at the water fountain, pretending to be me. That night, I passed the girl and some of her friends on my way to go brush my teeth. I wasn't wearing a bra, I was already in pajamas. The girl looked pointedly down at my chest and all of them started giggling. But the last straw was when the entire dorm got an email from the RA yesterday saying she'd gotten some anonymous complaints about people dressing inappropriately in the hallways and asking that we all just make sure we're keeping things covered up. So here's where I got my petty little revenge. I knew that the girl's boyfriend doesn't go to college here. The girl and I were in the same orientation group and chatted a bit back then. I also knew that due to the pandemic, we aren't allowed to have non-student or family guests in the dorms this year. So I used the same anonymous complaint form to issue a complaint about people bringing their off-campus boyfriends into our dorm and them not wearing a mask. Masks are mandatory in the hallways, although not frequently enforced. This morning, the RA emailed again saying that due to anonymous complaints, they'd be enforcing the no off-campus guests rule by checking IDs of unfamiliar guests to make sure they were students from then on. Really? This girl should be thanking me. If she was concerned about her boyfriend seeing the vague outline of my boobs in the dorm hallway, she no longer needs to worry. Alright, let me say if there was any question in your mind, you are not the a-hole at all in this situation. Like, there are maybe a few a-holes in this story, and none of them are you. Like, for starters, that other girl and everything, to heck with her. You were wearing a shirt, you were covered, and oh no, you could kind of see, who cares? That's nothing. That is so ridiculous and petty. The other a-hole is the boyfriend, like, staring and stuff. Like, I'm sorry, other woman. If your boyfriend's staring at someone's boobs, that's not the problem with the person with the boobs. It's the problem with your boyfriend, and you should be talking to him if you're uncomfortable with that. Granted, it's natural for people to kind of glance at some stuff or whatever, you know? I mean, whenever I see, man, if I see people wearing just, you know, amazing bracelets, that's a catch for me. I don't know. But that's beside the point. We're getting derailed here. What I mean to say is, out of all the potential a-holes in this story, our OP is not one of them. They are not to blame in the least, and even your act of petty revenge, good on you, and frankly also smart to enforce during the pandemic. It sounds like this was during more peak pandemic times, and so I think you have every right to want that even if it wasn't for petty revenge, so good on you and sucks to them. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for bringing my sister-in-law's wallet to the restaurant when she conveniently always forgets it? My, 28 female, sister-in-law Amy, 26 female, always comes to visit from out of town. She stays with us instead of hotel and always wants to go to expensive restaurants. She always conveniently forgets her wallet or domes up with some excuse as to why she can't pay her share. She has implied that since I make much more money than her, I should be the one to pay. No, not my husband should pay, but me specifically. I do make a fair amount of money, but not so much that I can treat someone every time they come into town. Nonetheless, in the past, I've just paid the bill and asked her to pay me back. She never has. She had made a reservation at an extremely expensive restaurant last night, and before we left, I made it clear that I wouldn't be paying her bill. This is where I might be the a-hole, and I'll admit I got this move straight from an episode of 2.5 Men. As we were leaving, her and my husband went to the car. I pretended I forgot something and went back inside. I found her wallet sitting right on top of her suitcase. I put it in my purse, and we went to the restaurant. When we were done eating, I asked for separate bills. She said, "No, we need one bill because she forgot her wallet again." I reached into my purse and said, "This wallet?" She was extremely furious. She said that I should not have touched or grabbed her wallet. So, am I the a-hole for taking her wallet and bringing it to the restaurant? Edit. Wow, thanks for all the awards. Jeez, LOL, so many comments that I can't keep up, but thank you to everyone who had something to say. Edit 2. Amy just called me. She saw this post and she yelled at me for bad-mouthing her on the internet. Honestly, I don't care, Amy. Hopefully reading all these comments is a wake-up call for you. Hey, Amy, I got bad news. Now you're being bad-mouthed on a YouTube video. I'm sorry, but Amy, that's a crappy move. Like, okay, if the OP was like taking Amy out to eat at these expensive restaurants without, Amy like saying so, or Amy's like, "Oh, we should go out to eat." And in Amy's mind, she's thinking of, Applebee's or something, and you're taking her over to like Mara or something like that, then yeah, I would say it's kind of a dink move if she doesn't make that much money to be like, "Oh, Amy, can't you afford your $80? But Amy's the one instigating going out to these expensive restaurants. Amy is the one who is making reservations at expensive restaurants and then expecting you to pay or conveniently forgetting her wallet. And that is where Amy has lost this argument. Amy is the a-hole in this situation. I'm sorry. Just because you make more money and she's your sister-in-law does not obligate you to pay for her food. Like I said, if you're the one instigating these big expensive restaurants, knowing that Amy doesn't make as much, yeah, you know what? That's on you. You should be treating and paying, because if you wanted to go there, that's you. Amy wants to go there, then Amy gets to pay. And if she's going to throw a fit because you touched her wallet and brought it along for her, no, that bucket doesn't hold any water, Amy. That's a terrible excuse. And either start going to cheaper restaurants or pay your fair share. That's that. Story 3. Get rid of my vacation? Have fun replacing me. I originally posted this as a comment on another thread, but realized it needed its own limelight. I worked at a company that gave out exorbitant amounts of vacation. Anyone who worked there for 25 plus years received 8 weeks of vacation and 2 weeks of personal time. This was a family-owned company, but rather large. We ran 3 shifts totaling 250 plus people. Enter Jimmy. Jimmy was a grizzled old man. He started at the company when he was just 20. He is now 63 and gave absolutely zero craps. Jimmy also knew how to make a specific part for our product, him and one other higher up in the office. One day, the plant owner comes out and announces he's selling to a corporation. He's older and ready to retire. He promises that there will be very little change and wishes us all well. The new company comes in, and immediately goes after many of the great benefits we had. The first thing they do is cut everyone's maximum vacation down to 4 weeks and do away with personal time. Anyone who's maxed out had until December 31st of that year to use it up, and they wouldn't pay it out. Then they go into the office and clean house, firing anyone who's close to retirement, including Jimmy's backup. They also do away with one very important rule. You no longer have to get vacation approved, you can just call in and take it. Jimmy is peed, and they know it. They realize he's the only one in the building that can do his job now, so they hire a new kid for him to train, most likely to permanently replace Jimmy. So Jimmy does what anyone would do. He calls in the first training day for the new hire and just lets us know he's going to use all of his PTO at once, and promptly takes 10 weeks off. We had a backstock of parts he had made, so it wasn't too unnerving, but for 10 weeks, Jimmy went and applied to other jobs, found one, and started. Fast forward 10 weeks, it's the day Jimmy is supposed to return. He doesn't. For 2 days, they tried calling him and even went to his house. He's nowhere to be found. Finally, on day 3, he calls and resigns, and they lose their crap. The parts he makes are specialized and patented by the original founder. You can't just hire someone off the street to make them. What eventually happens was they had to contract the original owner to come in and teach some new hires how to make them, and when he found out what they all had done, it peed him off. The last I heard, he charged them a 7-figure contract to teach them how to produce the parts, and they had to pony up or close down. Moral of the story, don't F with people's vacation time. Edit. Jimmy made an electronic control module that was sealed and stayed fixed in a poured unit made of a 2-part epoxy. Edit 2. Jimmy didn't exactly miss out on a 7-figure contract and had 0 chance to take one. He left, said F 'em, and moved on. When they contacted the previous owner and explained the situation, it was basically a, "You need my help? It'll cost $1 million" type of conversation. Final update. Thank you everyone for all the attention this received. I had no idea this would blow up like this. I have immediate family working with the company still, so if I hear of any more rumblings, I'll fill you all in. Also, I worked here for 4 years. I have a few other Jimmy stories I may post at other times on the appropriate threads. Thank you all again. First off, if there's even the slightest question about it, Jimmy, not an a-hole. Jimmy did what Jimmy should do. And frankly, sucks to this corporation. It sounds like this was actually a great company to work for that really treated its employees well and seemed to be successful in doing so. And immediately a corporation comes in and does what corporations do, which is screw things up to the max and not treat their employees like human beings. So right off the bat, this corporation and most corporations, a-holes. The lot of them. But to also go in and just change people's contracts and stuff where it's like, oh, you've got 8 weeks of vacation a year, huh? No, not anymore. That's gone forever. No, 4 weeks max. We won't be. No, you don't do that. You bought a company that you saw was working and you decided, no, we want to pinch more money off of that. And then to demand that they take all of that vacation time before December 31st or you wouldn't pay it out. This company is lucky that there weren't more people like Jimmy who just up and quit. And frankly, a lot of them probably should have and just screwed this whole corporation over, because it's mind-blowing to me. There are so many greedy, awful corporations out here doing this stuff, and no shade to the owner who sold. He was getting retired and wanted to be done with it. I get it. I wish he could have left it to like a board of trustees that worked at the company and would have kept it going the same way or something, but hindsight's 20/20, I guess. Lesson learned there. But yeah, no, as is the case in the world, the a-holes are big corporations. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.